Thank you so much for joining me for practice today. My name is Colleen and I am with Shine On Yoga. I have Fritz here on the mat. I have Sam bringing his yak to practice. So they're just coming to say hi. They probably won't stay the whole time, but we'll see. I did take a couple weeks off, so I'm super excited to be back and to bring you this practice. It will be kind of moderate. We've taken a couple weeks off, so we're going to turn up the heat a little bit. Take your yak. And so we're going to turn up the heat, but don't let that intimidate you. I'll offer modifications as needed. If you'd like to use any props, some that I recommend are blankets, bolsters, blocks. Make sure to bring your water. You want to make sure to stay nice and hydrated. And for today's class, we're going to start out just on a nice, comfortable seat, so you can find your seat, whatever that looks like for you. If you'd like to sit up on a blanket or a bolster, feel free to. Sometimes that can help the knees if they're not feeling great, just bringing those hips above that point. Let's have our seat. You need to sit. All right, so once you find your comfortable seat, go ahead and let the day go. Drop your shoulders down your back body. Loosen the jaw. Take some nice, big, deep breaths. Your hands can just be resting, palm facing up or down on your lap. Yogi's choice does not matter. If you have a partner, you can maybe pet them if that's appropriate. Take some nice, big, full, deep inhales and exhales. And if you'd like to set an intention for your practice, feel free to do so. Or if it's just to come check this out and see what this is all about, that's perfectly okay too. Let's go ahead and take one more big inhale together. And then exhale, you can sigh it out. If your eyes are closed, you can blink them back open. We're going to go ahead and transition to all fours into a nice tabletop position. So knees underneath hip points, hands underneath your shoulders. If you do have cranky knees, you can bring a towel underneath or a blanket to kind of pat them depending on the surface you're practicing on. Otherwise, we're going to start to warm up the back with some spinal flexion. So on an inhale, we're going to drop those lower ribs down, lift the tail, lift the head and chest looking forward, coming into a cow pose. On your exhale, round through the spine, drop the tail, drop the head, really press away from the mat, arch your back like a black Halloween cat here. And on the inhale, we'll reverse it, coming back into our cow pose. Exhale, rounding into cat. And then from here, go ahead and take a few rounds just on your own inhales and exhales. If any of these poses feel really great in your body, you can stay in them and just breathe. Sam is back. Harass me. All right, and after your next cat pose, go ahead and bring it back to stillness. Maybe walk your palms out a little bit, and then we're going to straighten one leg out, long and away, and then the other. And we're coming into our first plank pose. Now, if you'd like to lower down to your knees, feel free to come into a half plank. But otherwise, we're going to really press away from the mat, press back through the heels, push away from the floor, look down, one straight line, heel to head, head to heel. Breathe here. If you need to lower down to your knees, that's perfectly fine. We're just warming everything up, turning on this core. One more big inhale here. And then on your exhale, lift your hips up and back, press through the hands. We're in our first downward facing dog. If you need to adjust your stance at all, feel free to. Really press through those hands. If you have if your wrists aren't feeling great, you can press through the thumb, the pointer, and the middle finger to take some pressure out. Let those heels grow heavy. It's okay if they don't touch the ground. If you'd like a little more, you can always take your dog for a walk, bending one knee and then the other, just back and forth, getting some movement in those calf muscles. If you are walking your dog, after a few breaths, bring it to stillness. We're gonna just stay here and take a few nice big breaths. One more big inhale. And then on the exhale, start to look forward at your hands. We're gonna make our way up to the top of the mat. So you can take little baby steps, you can take big steps, you can even crisscross your steps, whatever feels good to you. But walk your feet up towards your hands, slight bend in the knee. Inhale, come up halfway, keep a nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold, let it all go. Now, if forward fold is a difficult pose for you, you can always use blocks here to bring the ground up to you. You can have them on this upper level, you can go to a medium level, or if you don't have blocks at all, you can just bend your knees as generously as you need to feel stable in this position. On your next exhale, slowly start to roll it all the way up. Roll up all the way. I probably rolled up a little bit too fast, but try your hardest to roll up. And once you're there, make any adjustments. You can shake everything out. And then once you're good, go ahead and bring it to stillness. Feet nice and grounded into the mat, standing up nice and straight and tall, hands at the sides, mountain pose. Take some nice big breaths here, just to reset before we get back on our hands and do some more work. All right, on your next inhale, let's reach our arms up to the sky. Exhale, slight bend in the knees, shift those hips back, forward fold. Inhale, we'll come up halfway, nice flat back. Exhale, let it go. Take a moment here, breathe. Really feel it out. You can sway side to side, you can grab opposite elbows and kind of just rock side to side, or you can just be in stillness. One more big inhale here. Exhale, maybe sigh it out. Then when you're ready, plant your palms. We're going to step one foot back, oops, and then the other, coming back into our plank pose. Again, you can always lower to the knees to come into a half plank. So find your variation, get up, get set up nice and tall and strong, and we're going to breathe here. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll lower all the way down to the belly. Lower the head. From here, walk your hands in underneath your shoulders. Bring your elbows, instead of letting them splay to the side, bring them in line with your torso. And on an inhale, start to peel your forehead and your nose and your face forward, just looking forward into this little baby cobra. Warming up the top portion of our back here, upper back. We'll have an opportunity to grow this later. But for now, we're just going to stay here. Exhale, lower that forehead down to the mat. All right, we'll curl one toe under, one set of toes under, and then the other. Inhale to prepare. And then exhale, go ahead and come up to all fours. When you're ready, take another inhale. And then as you exhale, lift those knees up off the mat. Start to peel your hips up and back, and we're back in our downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. If you want to walk your dog, you can. All right, I think we're pretty warmed up, so let's get ready to flow. When you're ready, drop that left heel down. Make sure your foot's nice and stable. And then as you inhale, we're going to lift our right toes up off the mat. Keep them dialed down, so you don't have to lift your foot clear up here. It can just be nice in line with the hips. And then as you exhale, bend that knee in towards your chest. Shift your weight forward, look forward, and then we're going to step that right foot in between our hands. Now our left foot is going to pivot to the outer left corner of our mat. And then from here, we're going to rise up. Keep this front knee bent. We want to make sure it's not going over the toes and that it's not under. So you might need to adjust your stance. Hips are going to be facing the long edge of your mat, and we're coming into a warrior two as we roll up. So the left foot, that knife edge of the foot, really press that into the mat. Your feet should be on parallel train tracks, not on a tightrope. And then from here, your torso should be centered. So you want to make sure you're not leaning too far forward, and you also want to make sure that you're not rocking too far back. So just nice and centered. From here, your hands can be on your hips, they can be at heart center, or you can reach them to either side, pinching a pencil in between those shoulder blades. And then finally, if you want a little more, you can look over those right fingers, warrior two. Whoops, breathe. Feel that strength in your legs. One more big inhale here. Exhale, you can sigh it out. Drop that left hand down. Keep the legs where they are. We're going to drop our left hand down. Reach the right arm up. Look at your right arm. Peaceful warrior. One more breath here. And then exhale, we'll lower it back to our warrior two. And then let's cartwheel our hands down towards the mat. Frame your foot. We're going to step this left foot in a little bit. So that way it's still pointing, but we're going to step it in about halfway. And then go ahead and straighten that right front leg. So now we're in a pyramid posture. Again, if this is a difficult pose, you can use blocks just to bring the ground up to you. They can be on different levels. But once you're in your pyramid pose, go ahead and let your head hang heavy. Take a few breaths here. Pull that right hip crease back, left hip crease forward. And then just breathe here. All right, rebend that front right leg. We're going to pick this left foot up off the ground and then step it back. So you're in a nice low lunge. Plant your left hand on the mat. We're going to reach our right arm up towards the sky, coming into a nice twist here. And just breathe. If this is a little much, you can always lower onto that left knee. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll lower our right arm to the mat. We'll step our right foot back, returning to our plank pose. Or you can go to half plank. And we're going to breathe here. We have lots of planks today. One more big inhale. Exhale, lower to the belly. Inhale, rise up into your baby cobra. Or if you'd like a little more, press through the hands and we'll rise up a little higher. If you are coming up a little higher, make sure there's no crunchiness in your back at all. If there is, lower down a little bit. You don't have to come up as high. Also, make sure you're not collapsing into your shoulders to where your ears are meeting your shoulders. Roll those shoulder blades back down your back, away from your ears. Press your chest forward. Breathe here. One more big inhale. Exhale, lower everything back to the floor. All right, from here you can come through all fours, or I'm going to show you another way to get back into downward facing dog. Either way, that's where we're headed, so you can pick your option. All right, if you're coming with me, go ahead and tuck those toes under, take a breath to prepare. And on your exhale, press away from the mat, rise up into plank. Take another breath here. And then as you exhale, we'll lift our hips up and back. We're back in downward facing dog. Take some breaths here before we move on to side two. All right, side two, we're going to go a little bit faster. My back is going to be to you. I won't give as many instructions because we've already done this, so try and listen to your body as we go through this flow for the second time. Go ahead and really make sure your right foot is rooted into the mat. On an inhale, we'll lift those left toes up off the mat. Keep them dialed down. Exhale, bend the knee in towards your chest, shift forward, look forward, and then we'll step the left foot in between our hands. Go ahead and pivot on that right foot, and we're going to rise up into our version of Warrior Two. Breathe here. When you're ready, we'll drop our right hand down, lift our left hand towards the sky, look up at it. Peaceful warrior. Breathe. On your next inhale, we'll cartwheel our hands forwards, frame our left foot, step our right foot in about halfway. Go ahead and straighten through that left leg. Pull that left hip crease back, right hip crease forward. Let your head hang heavy, pyramid pose, and breathe. You should be feeling a nice stretch in the back of that left hamstring. One more big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. All right, go ahead and bend that left knee again. We'll kick our right foot back. Go ahead and hop it back, coming into that low lunge here. And then we're going to plant our right palm down. We'll lift our left hand up towards the sky, twist in towards that left inner thigh, and breathe. One more breath. And then exhale, lower your left hand down towards the mat. We'll step our left foot back into plank. Take some breaths here. One more big inhale here. And exhale, we'll lower it all the way down to the mat. Inhaling in for cobra. Take a few breaths here. One more breath. Exhale, let it go. And then from here, I'll meet you guys in downward facing dog. All right, look forward at your hands. We're going to make our way back up to the top, back into our forward fold. Once you reach your destination, on an inhale, come up halfway. Keep a nice flat back here. Exhale, let it go. All right, from here, make sure your fingers are just tented on the ground. Walk your feet as wide as the mat, and then go ahead and let your toes turn out so that they're spilling off the mat. From here, let's drop our center down, drop your booty down. Down, 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 until you're in this yogic squat. I'm going to turn to the side here so you can see me a little bit better. So you're going to come down into this yogic squat. Now, you may not reach the bottom like I am. That's okay. If you have blocks, you can use blocks to assist you, or just don't come down as far. Go only as far down as is comfortable to you. If you need to leave your hands on the mat, great. Otherwise, if you're good here and your hips are super open, you can bring your hands to prayer and press those knees out and away while you lift your chest. Completely yogi's choice. We're just taking a little moment to open up through the hips, so take some nice big breaths here. It can be difficult. Those of you on the live, I know as I was explaining that someone was giving me hearts. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I can't read your comments from back here because my eyesight isn't that good, but I appreciate your support. One more breath here. And then as you exhale, really press through your heels wherever you're at, and we're going to stand all the way up. You can bring your feet back in line. You can let your hands drop to come back into a mountain pose. I'm going to go ahead and just shake everything out, adjust everything. All right, once you're ready, let's come into our mountain pose. Take a few breaths here, because in a minute we're going to fly. We're going to attempt to fly. So take a moment just to get into that headspace. All right. So we are going to play now with Warrior 3 a little bit. It can be a very challenging posture. Please make sure that your space is set up so if you do happen to fall over, you're not hitting your head on anything sharp or anything like that. Please be careful. If you know Warrior 3, have at it. If you've never done this before, you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm going to explain it. We're going to do it just one time on both sides. So don't get too overwhelmed. If you fall out of it, it's okay. Just practice and it will come eventually. And it can change from day to day too. You'll see it change from side to side. You'll see it change day to day. So just as you practice, you'll learn. Just play and have fun with this. If your balance isn't great or you have some issues with balance, if you're practicing next to a wall or maybe a chair, you can always use that to hold on. All right, so from here, I'm just making sure I have enough room. My mat's kind of moved on me here. All right, so from here, make sure that your left foot is nice and planted in the mat. Now, you don't want to dump all your weight into that left, or into that right hip. So you still want to evenly distribute the weight. So I'm going to turn to the side here. I guess I should explain this a little bit more. So if you're dumping, it's going to look like this, where you're dumping all your weight into that hip. If you're just transferring that weight, it's going to look a little different. So I'm still upright. So play with that first. And then once you feel pretty stable there, kick those left toes back. And maybe just stay on the ball of your toe there. Your hands can be on your waist, you can have them in prayer, whatever you want to do with them right now. Slight bend in that right leg. And then as you feel ready, and if you don't feel ready, if this pose is not for you, then you can stay here. But if you would like a little more, start to hinge your torso forward like you're looking into a little pond. And you can start to lift those left toes up off the mat as you hinge forward. Now again, your arms can stay on your hips. They can come in at your heart. You can bring them back like airplane arms. You can bring them forward into a more traditional warrior three, whatever feels good to you. But take a moment here to play. If you find balancing hard, find a spot to focus on the floor in front of you that's not moving. One more breath here. And then as you exhale, try and come back the way you went in. And then place your foot down. How did you guys do? You can shake out the legs, because that can be a lot on that standing leg. If you fell out of it, don't beat yourself up. It's perfectly fine. It happens. Just play. Play with it. All right, let's go to side two. So we're going to set up on our left side. So go ahead and shift your weight to the left. Do whatever you want with your hands for right now. And then just prop those left toes up on the mat. So again, you might stay here. Maybe you play with just shifting forward and not lifting the feet or the foot, whatever you want to do. Or whatever actually feels good in your body today. Whatever you feel able to do. All right, when you're ready, maybe start to play with shifting it forward, maybe picking that right foot up off the mat. And then again, you can do whatever you'd like with your hands. They can be an airplane. You can shoot them forward, prayer, maybe just on your hips to start. Play with it. If you fall out, just keep playing. No shame here. No beating ourselves up. This is a practice. Let's do one more breath. Exhale, try and slowly come back to that beginning position. Woo. And once you're there, shake it out. Take a breath. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a clap. You did great. However you did great. Even trying it if it's new to you, if you fell out, great. You tried. That's all you can do. Thank you so much for the hearts and the love. All right, let's do a couple more things. We got a few more core things before we end, and then we'll start to cool it down. So let's get back down to the mat. On an inhale, let's reach our arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it all go. Take a few minutes here. Let that warrior three practice just roll off your back into the mat. All right, from here, let's plant our palms. We'll step one foot back and then the other. Plank pose. Breathe. Breathe. And just when you think you can't hold plank anymore, go ahead and spin. Come onto the outer edge of your right foot, inner arch of your left. Come over just onto your right arm. Now we're in a side plank. Really push those hips up. Your hand can be on your hip. It can be reaching up to the sky, or maybe you want to bring it across your forehead or whatever. I can't talk when I'm in this. Breathe. One more big breath here. Exhale, lower that left hand down to the mat, and then we're going to change sides. So outer arch of the left foot, inner arch of the right, lifting the right arm up to the sky, really lifting those hips up, side plank. Breathe. This is our very last plank. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll lower that right arm down, come back through center, drop the knees. Go ahead and bring your knees as wide as the mat. Big toes to touch. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, shift those hips back. Walk your fingers forward. Let your head and your heart melt into the mat. Take a rest. Extended child's pose. All right, after a few breaths, go ahead and come back up. We're going to shift over to one side, swing these legs around, and we're going to start to cool it down. I'm going to bring my blocks over here just so I can grab them a little bit easier here in a bit. But we're going to go ahead and roll onto your back. Bring those knees into your chest. Take a moment here. We're going to continue opening up the hips a little bit while we cool it down. We heated up our body quite a bit through those flows and some of those postures. So we're going to move some stuck energy out of our hips. The first pose we're going to use to do that, so we've already done one pose, I guess, to do that. That was that yogic squat that we did a little bit ago. This is going to be our second one, and it's called Happy Baby. Again, if you know Happy Baby, take it away. But if you're unfamiliar with it, I'm going to break it down here for you. So keep your knees in, and this may not be appropriate for everyone, so again, pay attention to your body. But from here, I'm going to take the outer edge. I'm just grabbing my left foot to start, and I'm going to kick it up to the ceiling. I'm going to do the same thing with my right foot. So it kind of resembles a baby. You can rock and roll from side to side like, I guess, a happy baby would do. You can stay just in stillness. And this may not be accessible to everyone. So the way this looks is not accessible in your body. You can always grab onto your ankles, your pant leg, or maybe just grab behind your thighs here and play with that. Play with different placement until you get to this point. Let your tailbone grow heavy and long towards the edge of your mat. Let's do one more breath here. And then exhale, we'll bend those feet in together. Go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. From here, we'll straighten that left leg out long and away. Keep the right knee in. Then when you're ready, we're going to cross that right knee across the midline, coming into a little twist here. Now your hands can be on either side in like a big Texas T. You could do a field goal, whatever feels good to you. I like to take the opposite hand and just place it gently on the leg that's crossing. It's not pushing, it's just placed. Then I like to look out at my other hand that's usually outstretched. So find what feels good in your body today. Take some deep breaths wherever you're at. Feel that nice twist in your kind of middle to lower back here area. One more breath here. And then exhale, we're gonna come to center and we're gonna switch out our legs. So I'll send my right leg out long and away. My left foot is going to come in towards my center. And then on the exhale, we'll cross it over. Some nice big breaths here. You really want to try and keep your shoulder blades on the mat. If they're coming off, then you can always roll out of that twist a little bit. All right, from here, come back to center. Plant that left foot on the mat. Plant your right foot on the mat. Go ahead and walk your feet as wide as the mat, so that way your outer edges of your feet are at the outer edges of your mat. And then we're just going to let the knees fall in together. You can rest your hands on your belly or just wherever it feels good. They can be at your sides. Just coming into a little constructive rest pose. Take a moment here to breathe. We have one last hip opener after this pose. We won't stay in it for too long, and then we'll move into our final posture, Shavasana, to close out our practice today. All right, when you feel ready, we're going to walk the feet together so that our arches are just arch to arch, right together. And then from there, we're going to send our knees to either side. So some people call this a butterfly posture. So you might have heard of it like that. This is in yoga, reclined cobbler's pose. My hips are super open, so mine are coming down pretty low. Yours may not. Again, you can use blocks here just to bring underneath the knees to bring the ground up to you if you need a little extra support. Otherwise, if you don't have blocks or anything you can kind of prop your legs up with, then just go to where it feels good to you. So it may not be all the way open today, it might be halfway. So just pay attention to your body. You can also bring the feet away from your body, and that will lessen that strain on those hips too. So just play, take a few moments here to breathe. You can close down the eyes if it feels good to you. And then once you feel ready, send one leg out long and away, and then the other. Take up space on your mat. Your hands can come out at your sides, or you can keep them on the body if that's where they were. And we're moving into our final resting posture, the corpse pose. If you already have a practice and you'd like to use any props for your Shavasana, then you can go ahead and get yourself set up for that. If you don't have any props, then all you need is the floor and yourself. Let everything relax. If it feels safe in your body, you can close your eyes or maybe just soften your gaze. Take this time just to breathe, to thank your body for all of the work that it did today, and just to reflect on your practice. It was not an easy one today. It was kind of spicy. I am going to go quiet for a moment just to allow you some time for yourself in Shavasana, but I will be back shortly to guide you out of the practice. So for those of you that have joined me, you know that I pull a card for every class. Today is no exception. If you're new here, I pull a tarot card for every class and I just read the message at the end. And the card that I pulled today is Badger Spirit, be fearless and bold. I think that really went well with those Warrior Threes we did. Badger Spirit rejoices at your persistence and commitment to what is true for you. Whatever you seek, your tenacity and faith in your partnership with Spirit is paying off. And the results will soon coalesce into form in your world. The gift of Badger Spirit is the surety that taking a risk now and being courageous, fearless, and bold will yield wondrous results. This is a time to harness your will and apply it consistently to the pursuit of your dreams. Know that no matter the temporary outer conditions, you will manifest your desires in divine timing and in the form that Spirit deems best for you. Badger Spirit says you have what it takes to get what you want, so assert yourself. Be fearless and bold, shining your light as your purpose calls you into the world. New relationships are given a green light now. But that sentence was hard to get out. Don't be afraid to make the first move. Badger Spirit loves your brave and mighty heart. I think that's a great message to take into the rest of the week and for August. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for today's practice and for sharing your time and your energy with me, and for anyone practicing on the live. For those of you on the live, if you're new here, I go live every week on TikTok. Also for those of you seeing the replay on YouTube, I do go live on TikTok every week. It's usually Wednesdays about 4:30 p.m. That is Central Time. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link in my bio or find me on TikTok and I'll be there if you're interested in joining those. Otherwise, for those of you on the live, this replay will be on YouTube by the end of tonight. I usually announce it on my page at the beginning of the week, so I'll probably announce this video on Monday just to get the word out. If you want to know when they come out right away, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my TikTok, so that way you get notified when I go live. And then I also, my third offering is that I have a Patreon account that houses every single yoga practice I've ever done. So if you'd like that, you can subscribe to that. You'll have access to a full library of all the practices, different lengths, different types, different energy levels. So that way you can really tailor it to what you need on that day. There is a 7-day free trial on that. No obligation, and it's a month to month. So if you're interested in that, again, the link is in my bio. I want to thank you again so much for joining me today. I hope you love this practice. I feel nice and energized. I hope you do too. I'll see you next week for a brand new practice. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Namaste.